weapons, armor, magic items, all of them exist in a huge amount in Oblivion Remastered. But gear scaling causes them to spawn at varying strengths in different levels, causing a bit of analysis paralysis when it comes to deciding if you should wait to do any big quests that reward gear. In this video today, I want to break down a number of things in regards to leveling. We'll be talking about how gear scaling works, what items spawn at what breakpoints, how leveled magic items work, sigil stones, artifacts, pretty much any game mechanic tied to leveling, and how it works together. In my typical fashion of upfronting the knowledge in my videos, let me give you the down and dirty of what we'll be getting into. For starters, let me give you the breakpoints or the level breakpoints for non-magic items. Basically, all weapons and armor increase in their material based off of your level. So weapons, for weapons, that's 1, 2, 4, 6, 9, 12, 16, and level 20. For armor, it's 3, 5, 8, 12, 17, and level 22. Once you reach level 22, all weapons will be Daedric, and all armor will be either glass or Daedric, depending if you're using light or heavy. For quest-specific items, the breakpoints are 4, 9, 14, 19, 24, 29, and lastly, level 30. So, level 30 will get you the best possible quest items. Sigil stones from Oblivion gates occur at 4, 8, 12, 16, with the last and best tier at level 17. When it comes to Daedric artifacts, the ones you find at Daedric shrines, those are all set levels, meaning, for example, the Spellbreaker, my favorite shield in the game, is a level 10 shield that is best acquired at level 10 since it won't level up. Lastly, the Knights of the Nine DLC breaks all these rules because you can re-level the armor by placing it back on the armor stand. Honestly, my opinion is that you should not wait to level to get items. If you have a very clear idea of the items you want because you're a veteran of the Long War, then by all means go for it. That's a Warhammer 40k reference. If not, and this is your first time playing, I encourage you to just play the game and enjoy yourself. There is an exhaustive amount of magic items in this game, and you curtail a lot of the fun of progression by holding all the items back until you reach level 30. Also, what if you end up moving on to another game? You'll never get a chance to experience that item because an internet min-max article, post, video, whatever it is, told you to wait. Fuck it. Play the game however the hell you want. You spent your money, so go and enjoy it. But that's too long to watch this entire video, and if that's all you wanted to know, please feel free to shut the video down. I want to be respectful of your time. You can also navigate to any part of this video that interests you the most using the chapters in both the timeline and the description. If you do end up heading out and the information in this video was helpful, please don't forget to like, comment, or subscribe, as each one of those things helps me out in a huge way. I don't think I've taken a breath this entire intro, but lastly, if you've not yet purchased the game, you can find a link to my Fanatical in the description and pinned comment, which will get you a Steam version of the game for 17% off. And I make something like a 4% commission, which goes directly towards my Mini Aussies toy fund. But let's get started on my leveling demystified. Should you wait in Oblivion Remastered? To get us started, we're going to talk quickly about leveling up. I figure in a video about leveling, we should at least talk about this for continuity's sake. If you already know everything, please feel free to just jump ahead to the next chapter. But we know now with Oblivion Remastered that this has been changed a little bit, and I wanted you to really take in the Flame Atronach while I talked about this. So moving over to our character menu, we can take a look at our major and minor skills. This is the biggest change as it comes into Oblivion. So now major skills contribute to our level just as before, but in the new system in Remastered, minor skills now contribute to our level as well, but they provide 12.5% less experience in this bar towards the next level. So this allows you to level up using whatever skills you want, not having to worry about it, because now leveling up will then grant us some attribute bonuses. Those bonuses are not tied to the skills that we leveled up. We choose out of 12 points, 12 virtues, to apply points to the levels, to the attributes. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Now, as far as some changes to the skills I do want to go over real quick, almost all of the skills themselves have had a tweaking to their perks, and I'll go over that in a separate video. Let me know in the comment section below if you want to do it. I was going to do a massive video covering every single change that's happened in Remastered. It would be a much longer video as I slap my hand on my water bottle. So if you want like a 45-minute to an hour-long video on that, let me know. But when it comes to magic schools, all magic schools now will give you comparative experience based off of the base magicka price of the spell. It's not like a 1-to-1 conversion, but still, casting spells that cost more mana or magicka will thus give you more experience. So this allows you to scale your leveling of these respective skills as you see fit. Another big one here is athletics. Athletics will gain skill faster now if you are sprinting. So sprinting is a fast way to increase your athletics. And mercantile has had a bit of a change as well. So now the experience gain is determined by the price of items sold instead of being a flat rate for every item sold. So basically, if you are haggling and you get a better price on items to sell, well, that value that you're selling gives you more experience versus just, hey, you've sold an item, here's 5 experience, again, as an example of just a blanket. And one other big change here too is to endurance. It used to be that you had to choose a very specific point when you wanted to maximize endurance to get the most out of it, to get the most health. Now, endurance attributes will give you retroactive health, so you don't need to worry about it. You can just specialize it whenever you want. So now that we've gone over those basics, let's just quickly show off what it's like to go to sleep and to level up like you do every day. You can see we've ascended to level 7. We've got 12 virtue points to put into any 3 attributes, only 3. We can't put 1 point into like 4 here, right? Like we can't do that. And we can only put a max of 5 virtue into 1 point, right? So 5 is the max, for the exception of luck. Luck can only have 1 point, and it costs us 4 virtue to do so. So, you know, if you wanted to level up, you would do this. Again, I'm just choosing. So there you go. We're going to put 5, 5, and 2, or however else you want to split that up, right? Like you could do something like that if you wanted. So 4, 4, and 4. So this is how leveling works. Again, just for continuity's sake, let's now jump into items and leveling and those breakpoints. Jumping over to the handy UESP.net wiki, we have a very cool chart that shows us for weapons what those breakpoints are. And again, what breakpoints mean is that once I've reached level 2, I know that I'm going to start finding steel as unenchanted loot. That's a specific thing that is something I want to bring up here is you are now going to start finding these items at these rates. So for steel, at level 2, I will start to find it as loot. At level 3, I will start to find it from vendors. And then at level 4, I will start to find steel weapons that are possibly enchanted. It's not like not every weapon that steel is enchanted. It's saying that, hey, if you rolled whatever you rolled to get an enchanted item in this chest, for example, then if it's steel, if it's enchanted, it'll be steel because you're level 4. So that's how that works. And you can see these breakpoints, they go from iron to steel to silver. And you can see there's an overlap, right? There's always some sort of kind of like near overlap around the enchanted portion and the unenchanted as loot. So at level 4, I'm going to get enchanted steel items possibly, but by and large, unenchanted items will probably be silver. It'll be a mix thus up. It doesn't fully convert, but it's like I'm sure there's a ratio in here, and I'm sure it's somewhere in this article somewhere. But it's not every single item you find is going to be silver until you get further and further into the silver breakpoint, right? So level 7, we're now going to get unenchanted silver items from vendors. Level 6 here, which is sometimes a little cattywampus, as you can see, we're now going to start finding enchanted silver weapons in chests on monsters, whatever. Like if you're fighting like a particular boss of a cave, right? Like a skeleton hero, and he has an enchanted weapon on them, then it is likely going to be silver if you're level 6. But if it's unenchanted, it could be dwarven, because as you can see, there is that carryover, there is that overlap. And just to kind of go through these here, you can see it goes from 1 to 2 to 4 to 6 to 9 to 12 to 16 to 20 at the very end for unenchanted Daedric weapons, and 22 for enchanted Daedric weapons. And what you'll notice when we take a look at armor is that this is there's more material here, right? Because armor is going to be split up based off of light or heavy armor. In this case, we don't worry about that. Even though Elven is a light armor, it doesn't matter when it comes to the weapon. It just is a material associated with its relative damage values. And what I will tell you too is, this is something I briefly talked about in my enchanting video. The base quality of the weapon doesn't really matter when it comes to enchanting your weapons. Just choose whatever one you like the look of the most, because it, by and large, because of the enchantment you're going to put on it, it's going to somewhat level out that damage difference. If you're using an iron weapon versus a Daedric weapon, yeah, sure, you're going to notice the difference. But pretty much like everything after Dwarven down to Daedric, enchanting any one of these, what the damage comes from the enchant, not from the base weapon damage as much, right? So don't really worry about that if you're looking at enchanting. But this gives you an idea of if you're going to do any kind of looting in the world. Okay, I know at level 22, I am going to find the best unenchanted weapons, and I'm going to find the best enchanted weapons, right? Because that's 22 is that breakpoint for Daedric. Let's now jump over to armor and talk about that. For armor, this is bifurcated into two separate lists based off of whether it's light or if it's heavy. And this has got a pretty straightforward leveling breakpoint scales, whatever, but it kind of lands in the same one ultimately, right? So 3, 5, 8, 12, 17, and 22. So at level 22, we will find glass and Daedric armor. This doesn't go through enchanted for some reason. It does talk about exceptions of stuff like, oh, you know, you'll find elven armor and certain things because of a typo, stuff like that. But for some reason, it doesn't give us that list. So you can see here that if I want the best armor, I'm playing a glass armor wielder. A light armor character, then I'm going to wait till 22. Same thing with that heavy armor. It's just a nice, even right across the board. It's kind of cattywampus compared over to the weapon usage, and you probably haven't heard the word cattywampus used twice in one video, but here it is here today. So we get that nice correlation here. It's very easy to jump into. You just get to level 22, you'll find the best armor. Now remember too, when you're enchanting any of this armor, it can only hold one enchantment, and the actual quality of that enchantment is not based off of the armor's quality. It is based off of the soul gem you are using, the size of the soul in the gem. There's a size joke in there somewhere. So this is how that all plays out when it comes to your armor breakpoints. Let's jump into a discussion about sigil stones, because they will play into the previous two things we've now talked about. Existing on a very similar scale, the sigil stones will scale at 4, 8, 12, 16, and lastly 17. Now, sigil stones are considered some of the strongest ways to enchant items in the game, because you can get very, very, very strong random effects that will generate on transcendent, this one right here, sigil stones. So a lot of people tell you to wait to do this if you're trying to do any Oblivion gates. Honestly, there's so many damn Oblivion gates in the game. Just do them when you see them. Have a good time. It's one of the biggest portions of this game is closing shut the gates of Oblivion, right? So go and have fun and do them. Yes, you can farm transcendent sigils, but the effects are random. So you might as well have as much fun as you can rather than trying to really spot farm specific ones. And you can do that too. It's just, my point is, enjoy the game as it's presented to you. You'll probably have, if you just started off or you're just about to start, you'll probably have a descendant sigil stone, which is the one you get from the very first Oblivion gate you go into as part of the main quest. Or maybe you waited to do the main quest until you're 17. In that case, it's transcendent. But that sigil stone, just to give you a sense of what the magnitude is, that is a lot to take in. Let me go back to the top over here. So just to look over here, right? The effect and magnitude of the stones are determined upon receiving it from the tower, as described in the previous section. This table lists all the possible sigil stones that can be acquired in the game as taken from the construction set. There are 150 different, in all 5 magnitudes, each 30 possible pairs of effects. It's super convoluted, but I just wanted to point that out. So just to show you this specific stone that gives you absorb agility and fortify agility, at transcendent, it will be 25 points of absorb agility and 12 points of fortify agility. Or just to kind of go down for another one, it will be 25 points of absorb endurance and 50 points of resist disease. So there's all of them in here. If you want, you can check this out. I have the link to all this in the description, and you can find offensive ones on here, all sorts of stuff. But it's a pretty dense subject matter, and if you're brand new to the game, I don't want you to get cross-eyed looking at that. like I said, there's your big breakout for those individual levels for the sigil stones. So in my videos, I really like to try to preserve as much of the game as possible for you. I want you to experience it as I experienced it, which was brand new. I didn't have any of this to go through. I had a Prima official player's guide when I was in high school and I played this game. So I want you to experience it that way. But Daedric quests are a big portion of this game, and it might make you wonder, should I be waiting to do these quests? Don't worry about it. You can just jump ahead and do them whenever you want. Once your character is at a sufficiently high level, you can visit a Daedric shrine and provide an appropriate offering. Levels and offerings are provided in the following table. At that point, the shrines, blah, 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 blah. It goes through a whole entire process here. You'll go and you'll do the quest and you'll get a really cool item. But the nice thing is that these will never level, in that you don't need to worry about doing them and have them level up. So I'm only going to show you this first one because this is the one that the game kind of leads you to. So I don't feel it as bad. There's a bunch of other ones with cool locations. It's fun to stumble upon them, but this one is Azura Star. It's a really strong, powerful soul gem that is infinite. You can just keep recharging it, and it comes out at level 2. It's always going to be level 2, so you don't need to worry about waiting to level 3 to go do it. And just to kind of here with Wabbajack here is level 2. This is a mace. It's always going to be a level 2 mace. So if you wait to 30 to do this, yeah, you'll have fun doing the quest, but you'll get an item that you really can't use. And maybe you're not even using a blunt weapon, so it's going to, this is null and void. But my point remains, if you find these quests and you're like, oh, well, I'm 17, I don't know if I should do the quest. No, go ahead and do it. Have fun with it, because it gets you a cool weapon, a cool item, a cool piece of armor, a cool shield, whatever it is. But at the same time, too, you have to have fun with a really cool quest. And it's not leveled. It is at the level requirement that you approach it at. Jumping back to the game, let's finish this video out by talking about the magic items you'll encounter in the game, either via quest rewards, the DLC plugins that were added with well, I think they're added with all versions of Oblivion Remastered, but the deluxe edition gets you special new exclusive ones. But you can see here we have the Dragon Sword of Lane Lin. You get this from doing the Battlehorn Castle DLC that was added. Basically, they added like a thematic house for every single archetype of character, a thief house, a mage tower, and like a warrior castle. And then they've got a paladin chapel too. And this one is really cool. A lot of people have watched the video and said, hey, what the hell sword is that? It's one of my favorite looking swords in the game. And I made the choice to get this at like level 4. Because I knew the amount of items in the game that were coming my way. I knew that there's tons of Daedric artifacts to get. I knew that there's an entire Shivering Isles level of items to get. And I think one of them has the exact same art as this one. I knew the Knights of the Nine DLC existed. I know that there's so many items to jump into that it didn't matter to me that I'm going to lose basically this sword somewhere along the lines of my progression, because I'm going to find something better. And I think that's okay. It makes it more enjoyable for me that I'm not just using this same sword throughout the entirety of the game. So let's go ahead and cycle the details here. And it can see this says fire damage on strike, 10 points, absorb fatigue on strike, 14 points. This used to be a much better sword because absorbing fatigue meant that your damage didn't go down. In the original Oblivion, your lower fatigue meant you did less melee damage. It's not like that anymore. I digress. So we can see that these are the stats that I've got. Let me jump back over to the wiki and let's talk about how that progression happens and what those breakpoints are for magic items. So with this, you can see what those breakpoints are. It's 1 to 4 or just 4, 5 to 9 or just 9 pretty much, right? So 4 into 9, into 19, into 24, into 25. If you're below level 4, you're going to get this one. If you're below level 9, you're going to get this one. Below level 19, so on and so forth, right? If you're not at that break point. And you can see I have the weakest one. Absorb fatigue 10 points. Oh, no, I don't. I've got this one. Absorb fatigue 14 points, fire damage 10 points. So I get this weapon for probably another couple levels before I find something that's better. Either I find something that's better or I do another quest. And you can get a sense too that this will eventually progress to this version. There is a caveat here with this sword. You cannot get the best version in the game. So ignore that portion, but that's just a weird, stupid bug with the code. but this does exist in the construction set, so we can see what the stats would look like. So if I'm comparing my version to the best version, I'm missing out on 11 absorb fatigue points, and I'm missing out on 20 fire damage points. I'm missing out on, this has a special thing called a dragon sword power. It's a minor, it's like a dragon breath ability. And you can see that it scales differently than everything else here. This uses the same one for 2 levels, for 2 tiers, then the next one for 2 tiers, and then the final version for the last 2 tiers. The available one you can get at 25 plus, you get the best version of that dragon sword power. But this gives you a sense of progression about how this overall stacks. Okay, well, yeah, I could have seen that if I waited till level 30 or 30, well, I got 30 right here, I could get a much better weapon. But now I also know, you, the player, that there are so many weapons in the game that it would be nice to use this and actually appreciate the item versus getting a stock hold of 30 of these magic items at level 30 and being like, oh, which ones do I want to use? Because if you're using one-handed weapons, there are so many. One-handed swords specifically, there are so many. And the only thing that breaks this is the Knights of the Nine DLC. I have not gotten there with this character, but the Knights of the Nine DLC, you can get the entire panoply, the entire armor that you're wearing, the Knights of the Nine, put it back on the armor rack, and it will all re-level, repair, and recharge. So every single item from that is unique in that way. Nothing else can do that. But this gives you a sense now of where those breakpoints are. Is it really worth it for you to jump all the way to 30 for every single magic item you want to find, or should you just start to appreciate the journey and use the ones you encounter? A lot of people will approach this in different ways, and I'm going to be honest with you too, it's really not that hard to get to level 30 quickly. I've been doing not as much stuff, and I got to level like 9 in no time. To be fair though, I've played this game hundreds, if not 1,000 or 2,000 hours when I was a junior in college at that point. So, well, came out when I was in high school. I played the hell out of it again in college. But my point remains, you can have a lot of fun with all these magic items. So don't feel like you really need to get into the analysis paralysis of, oh, I can't go do that quest. I can't go experience that thing in this game because I got to wait to level up to get the best version. Nah, fuck it. Go do it, go play it, enjoy it, and you'll find something better because that's just the way this game is. Even if you don't find a better item from the quest items, you can make one through enchanting or find a sigil stone that will allow one to just be stupid good anyway. So hopefully this video helped you in understanding how these magic item breakpoints exist, how the mundane item breakpoints exists, and how you're going to approach them. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below. Do you say, hey, yeah, I agree with everything, but really you should just wait until like level 12. That's the best one. Just wait there and you'll be able to do all the Daedric artifacts that are really cool, and you'll be able to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe that's your stance. Whatever it is, let it be known in the comment section below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching here today. Have a good one and take care.